Hello, this is Derek from Future Growth and Vision Norman Network. I want to go ahead and do a little bit of a backyard garden tour and kind of tell you my processes and what I'm doing and kind of what I'm seeing happen, and we'll see how it works. I think one of the greatest things about all of this is it's kind of a roll of the dice. It's kind of a crapshoot. You don't know what's going to happen, but we keep trying and seeing what's going to happen. So my goal is for us to kind of check out things and talk about the different things that are happening and letting them just kind of be, and then seeing what happens, as well as being intentional about some food products that I'm going to put in, but also things that I'm just like trying. I'm trying to see if it works. This is my classroom. This is my chance to figure out what works and what doesn't. Whether I'm going to do this again next time will be all up to the success of this time. So I'm very excited to kind of check out everything. It is sunny and beautiful here in Norman, Oklahoma on this St. Patrick's Day. I thought, what better way than to talk about the green that I've got growing in my backyard when it comes to St. Patrick's Day. So let's get started. The first thing that I have done is these garden beds here are ones that I've had now. I think this is about the third year that I know the two boxes are 3 years old. And then the two that are made out of the wood logs, this is their third year as well. One of the ways that I can tell whether my soil is any good or not is I live in Oklahoma. So if you don't know anything about Oklahoma soil, it is red. It is a red clay. It is hard as a rock. And so I have been adding a whole bunch of organic matter, all kinds of table scraps, all kinds of things for years, and been growing in it. And so this is me having cleaned it out. I have an onion growing. I'm going to leave it there because I'm like, why not? I love a green onion. And then there's other stuff growing. I'll have volunteers that will come up. And if it's a volunteer plant that I want, I will leave it in here. If it's a plant that I don't, I rip it out. This is just trees. I don't know why I'm growing trees in a little pot, but there you go. This, again, 3 years old. One of the ways that you can tell if your soil is good is to pour water on it. Once you pour water on your soil, if it soaks in really quickly, that means that the soil is in good shape. If it puddles on the top, then that's not a great thing for you to have happen. That means that your soil's doesn't have enough matter in it. I have charcoal in here. I've got, microbes. I'm feeding all this stuff all the time, trying to feed it. Yes, if I use milk that's spoiled, I'll pour that in here. I put shells, like shrimp shells in here, because again, all of that feeds that soil, gives those microbes more to feed on, so that when I put my plants in, it has something to eat. You will notice I've not mowed my grass yet. I'm still in bee feeding mode. So all of my dandelions, which I've been jokingly calling the farm, or the dandelion farm, because if you see, I've got dandelions absolutely everywhere. I figure they can feed the bees, give them something to pollinate, and do better. Now this back area, back by this back, what used to be a fence, I have left the leaves and everything in it. Why? Because one of the things I wanted to do was I just dumped seeds in it. I'm going to see what nature can do if I just leave it alone. So this is my back wild belt. It's right here. I did just add some onions in here. So I put some onions in here to let them grow and see how they do. Because what I found was the ones that I planted in the garden didn't grow that big, but the ones that kind of did their own thing grew really well. So I'm going to let them do their own thing and see what happens and see if it works. Now again, there might be flowers that pop up in here. I've got trees that I'm trying to take out. I have, of course, you can see apple cores and all that stuff. I will be adding a blueberry bush in here over here, which is a sad little stick that they call a blueberry bush, but we'll see if it works. If it does, I'll be really excited about that. It's going to go right there. This used to be an old compost pile, so I know the soil underneath it's really good, and I'm going to put it there and let it have some sun, but it's shade when it needs it, so it's not crazy sunny all the time. This is what I call my nursery compost pile. Why? Because you will notice that I have plants growing in here, so I let them grow, then I will pull them out and plant them and let whatever that is grow. That's part of what I want to do, is just let the seeds grow and then pull that out. So I'm going to get tomatoes. I don't get tomatoes quite yet, but we're getting there. Once I see a tomato plant, they get pulled. They're very, very good because they're already cold hardy. My neighbors, who I know don't spray their yard, just mow their yard, so I got to add a second compost pile. I am very, very excited about that. So that's going to be, this will be soil for later, which I'm excited. I turned that over. I put a lot of stuff in there, add coffee grounds, things like that, to make sure that we have that situated. Over here, I added potatoes. Why? Because this ground is, I would say, medium So I've added some stuff to it. It's getting there. This is only the second year that I've planted anything in it. I do have Easter lilies right there, which I don't know if they're going to make it by Easter. They got to grow a whole lot by a month. I put onions in right here because I also have basil that comes up. So my hope is that the onions will come up, the basil will come up, and then I have these garlic chives is what these are. So I have onions and garlic chives. So this is really a flavor intensity garden where I'm going to have onions and garlic and all these things that are coming out of here, and I love that. Of course, I have a little bit of henbit that I'm going to pull out, which I haven't done that yet. This bed I've done nothing with yet. I've just been adding matter to it, adding matter to it, adding matter to it, trying to get as much in here as I can to get that soil right. Because let me show you, this is what I mean. This is the color of my soil. It is red clay. So with the red clay, I have to, over years, add matter to it, If it turns a dark black loamy color, so you can see this is the one I've worked on for a while. That color is amazing, and it's me working hard and adding stuff to it, and making it work. I have two little garden beds over here that my dad made me. I love these. These actually have soil that I bought from the store in it, so I'm not going to pretend like I didn't. I have also added some of my own compost in here, so we'll see what happens. I've added eggshells and food scraps, and again, all the things in the other one I keep adding to this to keep adding that matter into it and making sure that there's more and more things to be able to plant into. This one I'll be filling up some more. I need to get it taller. These were my tomato plants, and I'll be doing that as well. So I'm excited about that. I added cardboard down just to keep the weeds down. The grand dam of them all is right here. This is my rosemary bush. This rosemary bush is about 3 feet wide, 3 feet long, and almost 3 feet tall. So if I ever need anything for potatoes and stuffing or whatever, I just come and cut off a hunk and off we go. I lost her almost once, and that is when we had our major cold snap. She turned purple and I had to cut her back to almost nothing, and she's grown back very, very nicely. The wall seems to help out because it lets, her get warm when it's wintertime, but also blocks the wind and stuff in the summer, so we get a little bit of shade as well. In my pot, this is my sage bush. This is the oldest plant I have in my backyard. I started out with a little bitty sage, and this sage has been coming back every year since. It is by far, if that's the grandma, this is the great-great-great-grandma. So I love this sage plant. Every year she comes back. Every year I pull leaves from her, and I put her in every kind of food you can imagine. Anything chicken, poultry, fish, and I do this and rosemary, and then I usually will grow some oregano. My oregano is just a bunch of sticks right now. These are my pots. These are all going to be herbs at some point. This little bucket here I've had for a while. I've been adding stuff to it because right now it currently does not have all that great stuff that I want in it. So we're adding stuff to it. You can see I've got a little bit of a tail of a shrimp, and I'm going to do that. So we're working on all that. My cages will go up. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do cages or an archway. I don't know what I'm doing with this yet. I did this around my tomato plants last year, which worked, except the weeds were a nightmare. So I might take that big piece and make a big arch over the top of one of my beds so that I can grow something that maybe climbs and add some shade for those tomatoes. Because I found that if they're shady, they're doing really well. Of course, this is my crazy... That yellow carpet is all dandelions. I've got dandelions everywhere. Again, I'll mow this not too far off, and I'll knock them all down. And we have all kinds of mayflies everywhere, so I'm assuming the frogs are going to be having a field day. I do want to show you one little guest that showed up in my backyard, and I don't know how it got here, but I'm just leaving it as long as it doesn't get out of hand, it gets to stay. And that is my little paddle cactus. I think a bird brought it over. I don't even know. But at this point, I'm going to leave it and let it be because I'm like, I'm from Southwest Oklahoma, and a paddle cactus, there's a lot of life lessons in a paddle cactus. If you touch something prickly, you're liable to get stuck. And that's exactly what happened when I was a kid. So I would pull those little bitty things out of my fingers, and I'm like, ow, because you go hiking at Course Mountain State Park, and if you did that, you listen for a couple of things. One, the rattle, the ch. You need to back up if you hear that. And then the last thing that you might hear is you watch out for those cactus, because those cactus could be anywhere. You put your hand down, stick your hand on a cactus, you're going to remember it. You're not going to forget anytime soon. My flowering bush looks beautiful right now. It's just pretty. It does really good. This bush, I trim it back every year, and every year it grows back. And we bring it back down to about this size, and then I let the bugs have it. Again, the pollinators get it. I love that. I'm working on pollinators, because when I have my plants come up, I want them to be here primed and ready to go. My dad made my sons a balance beam so they can work on their balance. Super fun. So again, this has been a little bit of a backyard tour. I wanted you to have that before I get everything planted. And so we're not ready yet for all the summer stuff, even though it feels kind of summery. I've heard that some of my farmers have strawberries already coming in, which is way early, by the way. But it's been warm, and we always get scared because there could be a cold snap at the very end. So you got to watch out. So my hope is to get all this planted soon and get ready to rock and roll. I hope that you've enjoyed this quick little tour. As I grow more, and the more I do, the more I add to it, I will let you know so that you can walk with me on this journey this gardening season, and we can really kind of look at it from 2024. Yes, I will mow everything and put everything up, but I think it's going to be a fun little journey to watch. I'm always working on stuff, always trying to see what works and what doesn't. There are things that I do really well, and there are things that I fail miserably at. And so, I do that. I do not put any pesticide on my lawn. It's just been a rule of thumb. I try and take all the plastics out. I'm working on any trash to get out of it. It's just something that if I want to eat a dandelion, I want to be able to eat it and not get sick. If I want to eat a henbit, I want to be able to eat it and not get sick. If I want to eat something out of my yard, I want to be able to eat it and not get sick. And I want my kids to be able to eat it and not get sick. So that is a big thing for me. I'm not worried about having a golf course looking lawn, but I have all these beautiful flowers I get to look at, and I'm excited about that. So I hope that you've enjoyed this quick little tour. By all means, share this with your garden friends, and they can feel better about themselves, because if you have a more manicured yard or garden than this, you're doing great. If you got a full-on farm, I am impressed and a little jelly. I'll just be honest with you. But you know what? I love to support my farmers. You guys are doing great. If you're a farm, please put it in the comments below where you're a farm at, what your farm website is. If you have a YouTube channel, then I'll go ahead and like that YouTube channel and make sure that we are connected, because I think that's important to have community. I think that's great. So thank you so much. I hope that you guys have this great and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. Oh, I do want to leave you with one thing. This is going to be a mulberry bush. If you notice, it is the size of a giant tree. I've got 3 of them. So I've got mulberries that will be coming out on here, and I'm so excited. Every year we harvest from this tree, and I put it in my kids' yogurt, and I have a huge mulberry tree that hopefully, as long as it doesn't freeze, is going to be full of mulberries soon. If you look very, very closely, let's see if we can get it down here. You can see the little clusters even. So we're excited about that. That little tree is huge, first of all. And I've got 3 of them. So I'm excited about that. I love me a mulberry tree and the mulberry jelly and all that. So again, thank you so much for being on my little backyard garden. And I appreciate it. Watch my gardening channel on Future Vision Growth Network, and you will be able to watch all the things happening that are coming up soon. Talk to you soon.